ask you to leave. You know the drill.
No, this isn't a Trump court event.
Exactly.
Is it just conservatives have a blanket ban on you?
Well, you're pretty obvious on your Twitter what we.
I'm even wearing my colors.
I see that, but we're gonna have to ask you to leave again. Move out. You move out to the hallway. You can watch through the windows there if you like. But,
okay. So that part is public.
This is all private in here. It's a private event. Yeah.
Okay.
Private event.
The end of the trial for the trespass ticket.
I missed it.
It was dismissed.
I got some.
So I'm not welcome at any conservative events, it seems. I tried dressing for the part, but...
You're still wearing red glasses.
Thank you for being cooperative.
I'm not an unfriendly person. I'm just confused as to why politicians hate me. I've never said a single disrespectful word to this guy.
No, we see what you do. You put on Twitter.
We see what you put on Twitter.
I don't create this content. You guys create it. No, hold on. You have to stay on this part of the hallway?
All right, it doesn't go anywhere.
Like just behind the yellow line?
Just need to get her name.
Through like outside?
Karima Rules.
Yeah, it's the yellow line.
Okay, whatever. It goes on for a few more seconds.
Thank you.
So that would appear to be. I did a brief analysis overview of Karima Rules' Twitter feed just to make sure that she's not an overt provocateur, someone who deliberately goes and gets violent, gets rowdy, brings a crowd, actually incites people to get violent or disruptive. I don't, she seems to be mildly, let's say, anti-everything, but might be picking on conservatives these days more than liberals, but, whatever. I just went through the Twitter feed to make sure that this is not someone who is known for getting into events specifically to disrupt them. Didn't find any evidence to that effect. As far as I understand, this was an event that was public, open to the public, and she procured a ticket publicly to this event and was not allowed in. Apparently, from what the guy says, Zach, whatever, I don't know who that person is, because of what she puts on her Twitter feed. Now, I retweeted that with a little bit of a critique, saying this is not good when Trudeau does it. It's not justifiable just because someone who's conservative does it. And I'm not poo-pooing on any of the replies in response to that tweet. I'm noticing a phenomenon where people immediately regress into either lack of introspection or justifying what they want to do on the basis that, well, they've done worse to me, therefore it's justified. Some people saying she's a known agent provocateur and that she goes in and, puts out critical content. Well, that's too bad. You don't get to be a politician, open events to the public, and then make sure that the only people who are there are the people who agree with what you're about to say. That's what makes you Hillary Clinton, where you have events where you say things to, who is she talking to? Talking about, Wall Street, and then you don't want anyone recording and letting out the information. If it's not good enough to say to your adversary with pride, you probably shouldn't be saying it if it's going to be a political platform. Okay, I'm going to address a couple of comments in a second. And people say, well, she's there to disrupt. She's there to make them look bad. That's not an excuse. I'm sure that's exactly what Justin Trudeau says when he pre-bans Rebel News from attending events. I'm sure that's what he says when he disregards their questions. Well, I don't need to ask questions from you. That's not how it works. And if you are in fact pro freedom of speech, it admits of the possibility that when you're speaking to the public, you're not going to be able to cherry pick which members of the public get to hear your message. And I said, if she makes a stink and she causes a disruption, well, for the love of goodness, let her do it, and then get your video bite where you ask her to politely leave and she acts like a lunatic, and then nobody's going to criticize. Preemptive banning of people that you don't like because of what they say about you on Twitter is not democracy, and it's not any more justifiable when someone who's politically aligned with you does it compared to when your ideological enemy does it. And, if that's the basis, would I not be allowed to attend a Pierre Poilievre event? That's great. just to make sure that the only people there listening to you are the ones who are going to agree with your message and not hold your feet to the fire. And people out there are going to say, Viva, stop picking on Pierre Poilievre, because if you do that, you're going to increase Justin Trudeau's chances of getting reelected in what appears to be an imminent upcoming election. To which I say this, one can view critique as troll. Another can view critique as loving, constructive criticism. If it's loving, constructive criticism, typically my motto is you compliment publicly and criticize privately. That's the way that's the tactic I like to adopt with friends, with people who I know I give the benefit of the doubt to because they have a proven track record of being good people. Compliment publicly, criticize privately. When that possibility is not open, and you have no choice but to either criticize publicly or not criticize at all, well, some people might reflexively say that critique is either troll, therefore I can disregard it, or you're doing it out of anger. I view critique, even when it comes from bona fide trolls, as an opportunity for improvement. And I'm not saying this to be glib or sarcastic. Typically, the insults that hurt the most are the ones that you feel there might be a little truth to. And typically, if there might be truth to things like an attack on the way one delivers a message. Oh, you hem and haw too much. You talk, gesticulate with your hands too much. And ugh, that hurts me a little bit. It might be a room for improvement. I'm criticizing Pierre Poilievre relentlessly, remorselessly, as though he were the same position of power that I regard Justin Trudeau to be. And one can say, Viva, you're being an idiot, you're being a jerk, you're splitting the vote. Or one can say, yeah, if Pierre wants to improve, maybe he should listen to the critique. Maybe you should let people who are not ideologically aligned with you attend a public event after having procured tickets lawfully, and unless they do something bad during the event, let them listen to. Who knows? You might win them over, Pierre. They might say something on their Twitter feed afterwards, which might cause you to reflect and say, maybe I should walk things back a little bit with Christine Anderson. Maybe I should try to unite the Conservatives as opposed to pander to the potential Liberal vote. Maybe I should take that criticism to heart and actually allow it to make me a better politician. Or shoot the messenger, as they say. Now, truth may hurt sometimes, but lies always do. Karen, I disagree with that. Lies don't hurt if they're not true. Like, someone can call me fat if that would be something that, even if I were fat, that I would find insulting. That's not going to hurt me. Someone says, Viva, you abandoned your country. That might hurt me a little bit because there might be a part of me that actually feels that there might be truth to that. I mean, I know that it's not the case, but I cannot. Look, I was quite open, even going through the thought process of temporarily relocating to Florida. That went through my psyche. The outright lies don't hurt. Lies don't hurt because they're not true. Why would one take them to heart? Where they might hurt is indirectly if other people believe them and then act on them accordingly, like, I don't know, control, whatever. So I disagree with that. Let me see something here. Need to sync dialogue, locals, and YouTube Viva. Then the flip side is, not only do I have every right to live where I want, I think the guilt that I feel is not actually a guilt of having abandoned Canada. I was having this private discussion with someone, I won't mention whom, but listening to a book recently, we were talking about gratitude, and some people have difficulty feeling gratitude because they feel envy towards those who have more than them. Listening to that, I realized my difficulty with appreciating gratitude is that I feel bad for the people who might not have the opportunity to do the things that I've done. But then the ultimate irony is any of the people, they're not that many. Actually, there's not as many as I thought there were going to be, who say, Viva, you're a traitor, you fled your country, yada, yada. When Bill C-11 kicks in and you need someone, and Canada needs someone, and I need someone with a platform that can raise awareness about what the hell is going on in Canada, then nobody will be shy. I'm going on Jimmy Dore this afternoon to talk about Commissioner Rouleau's exoneration of Justin Trudeau. I'm sort of surprised how few people in the States, how few American platforms are talking about it. I'm going to make that market. I'm going to create the need for that market in America, the way olive oil created a need and a market for beautiful, tasty olive oil. So I was going to bring up these things here. Let me see this. My background is distracting. That might hurt a little bit. Okay, because also this might be a reality of the problem. Thomas Sowell said there's no solutions, only trade-offs. I said it yesterday as a joke. There are no solutions. There's only new problems. I think I'm going to have to like reposition the back of the studio. I think I'm going to have to get a better camera because I'm using, it's been very good for, for the last 3 years, this Vitad point and shoot plug-in thing. And it's great, but I think I need to get like a DSLR that's going to have nice depth of field that it will not go in and out of focus during a stream. Then the only problem is you do that and then it's like mildly out of focus and you don't realize, okay, whatever. The Real Bambooga, who I have not seen in a long time, you didn't read my 428,106 super chat. Miffed. Super miffed. All right, so that's the intro. Standard disclaimers. No legal advice, no medical advice, no election fortification advice. I love that dog. That is a beautiful dog. Super chats. So if you see those things called super chats, YouTube takes 30% of that. So if you want to support my stuff and you put $10 up on a super chat, YouTube takes 3. Some people have no alternative and don't mind, supporting YouTube, and it's indirectly supporting YouTube. True, but it's directly supporting my ability to do what I'm doing. We are simultaneously streaming on the Rumbles, and Rumble has a thing called Rumble Rants. We don't have any yet to read. Rumble takes 20%. So better for the creator, better for the platform, better to support a platform that supports free speech. And we are also simultaneously streaming on locals. So when I end this stream on YouTube and then go exclusive to Rumble, we will be on Rumble and locals. And then after we're done with the stream, I'm going to end the stream on Rumble and we're going to have like an after party on locals. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. You can join and be a member of the community with no financial out-of-pocket support whatsoever, or you can choose to be a supporter. It's $7 a month or $70 a year or more, because some people actually do pay more than the minimum support amount. You can do that. And that is it. What else? Yeah, merch. Who, what, when, why, and where? Okay, what do we have on store for today? Today's going to be amazing. I'm looking to see if Alexa Lavoie is coming on. Alexa from Rebel News is coming on to talk about the incident she recently had at what is known as the Roxham Road border crossing between the United States and America, where apparently it's like the best kept secret. The border is open for anybody to cross into Canada from the United States. And she was down there documenting what, typically, legacy media ought to be covering, because it's an actual, if it's not a national security issue, it's pretty damn close. Just an open border, people walking across, like literally just walking across. And she was confronted by and assaulted by what I think was a human trafficker who is making money by bringing illegal immigrants over the border. And I have a bunch of questions for her, because one of the questions was, why the hell didn't the Canadian police officer do anything? And I think it's because the incident occurred on the American side of the border. And then my question was, why the hell weren't they doing anything on the American side of the border? So are we zooming? The focus looks good. No, you see, I can see it. Well, if I just move around like this, see, that's why I wear the shirt that has words on it, so that it helps the camera autofocus. Let me just read this one. Dude, Rebel News is a joke. They fake assaults on themselves all the time and then fundraise off of it. They've been caught red-handed countless times doing it. Let me just address that, because that's, unless I've missed something, that's a lie that won't hurt anybody emotionally unless other people believe it. Fake assaults on themselves all the time? You mean like when Alexa Lavoie got shot in the leg point blank by the RCMP during the Ottawa protest? She did that to herself? That they fundraise off of it afterwards? Let's not confuse raising funds for what seems to be a critique of grifting here, as in grifting in the bona fide sense of creating the drama to profit from it afterwards. I won't say that I had the same thought. I can see how people see this, because when they have an incident, They create a website, they create a fundraiser, fight the fines, fight for Artur Pawlowski, fight for Reamer, who the Alberta pastor who just got arrested. What do you think they should? What's the alternative? Don't fundraise off of it and don't raise the funds so that people can contest the tickets, so they can go to court to challenge Justin Trudeau's preemptive banning of Rebel News. So sorry, Rebel News is not a joke. In fact, I think Rebel News might be the only or one of the last few remaining bona fide journalists out of Canada. I'm just going to put my headphone here. And I'm not angry at you and I'm not like triggered. People say this. People need to appreciate what Rebel News does. Rebel News is doing what few others are doing. And then we got the background is glaring, the neon sign. Okay, I'll fix things up in the background. All right, I see Alexa in the backdrop. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to bring Alexa in. And then I'm going to bring up the video and we're going to watch it, walk through it. But Alexa and I, we go way back. I don't know. She's been on the channel. She's interviewed me. And Alexa, how long have we known each other for now?
I think since I joined, actually, I know you before you know me, but we know officially when I joined Rebel, I think in June 2021.
Okay, fantastic. Chat, let me know. I just stabilized the audio, so let me know if Alexa is too soft or too loud.
Yeah,
Alexa.
I can also like maybe put more.
No, it's good. I think it's good. Now we'll see what the chat has to say.
Just to answer to your person, no, we are not creating our like assault or anything. It's just people need to understand that Rebel News, it's one of the few independent journalists who don't take money from the government. So that means that we can tell the other side of the story, and we have nobody to tell us what to say or not taking that story. So that caused that sometimes, we are targeting by some people to not show what is the truth, because what happened to Roxham Road, unfortunately, you have way more on the story that people need to know, because the man that attacked me is doing that for a long time, and is just helping migrants to cross illegally, and he's breaking the law, and he doesn't want to have his face to be shown, and he got aggressive. So I didn't provoke anything. I tried to avoid that man, and he came back and he tried to hit me and stop me to film.
Well, let's you know what, even before we watch the video, chat, let me do the poll before. Who knows what Roxham Road is? Am I going to do a poll? Forget it. I'm not going to do a poll. It's a pain.
A lot of people doesn't know, by the way.
I'm lazy. One, if you do not know what Roxham Road is. Two, if you are aware of what Roxham Road is. You know what? No, I'm doing it. How do I do a poll here? I go like this, start a poll. I'm going to say, do you know what Roxham Road is? Yes, no, ask your community. Let's go before we even get started. Okay, they're going to answer that honestly. 1-1-1. So it looks like 50-50. We'll see how the poll goes. Everyone who's answering the poll, answer it before you listen now. And if this is the first time you're hearing about it, then answer that you didn't know what it was. What is Roxham Road? Where is it? And how long has it been a thing for? Because I think I've heard about it now for at least 3 years, but I might be making that up.
Oh my God. Roxham Road is really a road where people are crossing illegally. It's about 50 kilometers from Montreal, South Montreal. It's geographically in the problem of Quebec. But in the same time, it should be a problem of all Canada. But unfortunately, it's taxpayers mostly in Quebec that pay for it. We are asking for a refund from the federal. But anyway. So that road is between two legal borders, Hemingford and Saint-Bernard-de-la-Colle. And it's just a dirty road that are crossing through US and Canada. Before, in 2017, it was only 10th with like RCMP who were arresting people were crossing illegally. With the time, it's begun to be a full building of federal building. Actually, it's really well made now. But Roxham Road have been always a problem. I think in 12 years ago, some people, but very few people were crossing illegally. But when in 2017, with the Trump administration wanted to deport the people who had no paper or no residency or their, I don't know, their green card was expiring, a lot of people were fleeing deportation. And so Mr. Trudeau wrote a tweet that was shared by millions of people, saying that if you are fleeing persecution, you can come to Canada. Welcome to Canada. So at that moment, the increase of people who were seeking asylum increased. And just last year, we had more than 39,000 migrants who crossed illegally at Roxham Road. So it's known around the world. A lot of people have known that route via YouTube, as I ask some people. And a lot of people know that you can cross at Roxham Road and you will be arrested. After that, we will bring to the immigration. And after that, they will be bring in hotel paid by taxpayer to wait for their legal justice appointment. But sometimes it can take 3 years. Until now, it took, I don't know how many times, I think like a couple of months to years to allow them to work. So since they are not allowed to work, we need to help them financially with like some check from the government. And so their hotel, lodging, everything is covered by taxpayer. And so right now, the big problem is like everybody claim that we need to, because you have the third safe country agreement that apply in Canada. So that's mean that when you go to a port of entry, like if you arrive in US, because it's a safe country, you can claim asylum, but you can only claim it in the first country you arrive. But that only apply to regular port of entry. So that means legal border. But when you come to an irregular border, that agreement doesn't apply. So you can cross from US, that is a safe country, and claim again asylum to a second country, and that doesn't affect. So they will not send you back to the country you come from. And so Justin Trudeau said that is the third safe country agreement that we need to change to make a change to apply to all port of entry. So irregular and regular one. And it's why you say that we cannot close Roxham Road, because Roxham Road will probably be another one will reopen next to it, since we have the biggest like border with the country, with the US. But during the pandemic, that road was closed for a couple of months, and the entry would decrease really. And we know that you have something to do, but nobody do it.
Well, that's the border closed with the rest of the border that closed across the country. So nobody was crossing over, even asylum seekers.
Yeah, no, but it's what they say. But we went on the scene during the pandemic and we were able to see some people crossing. But
okay, so
they were less.
It's not like it's a hole in the fence where people are, I'm saying it's not like a hole in the fence where people are sneaking in and then just dispersing it to Canada. They do get arrested. They then get detained. And then because they're claiming asylum, they get put up in some government facility for however long it takes.
I know that I did speak with some asylum seeker from Roxham Road, actually, and they were in Montreal in Place du Puy. And they have like a certain time until they receive some money from the government. So they are allowed to stay there for, I think, 1-2 weeks. And during the time that they search for sharing a place with someone. But they receive the money from the government. So the government is actually paying for their lodging through the check that they receive.
Okay. Do we know how much they're getting subsidized, paid, relatively speaking? Is it like $2,000 a month, or do we not have an idea?
I don't have a specific idea, but it depends if you are a family, if you are alone. It really depends on many criteria. And I think a family can receive a good amount of money to find a place to stay. But when people are arriving by themselves, most of the asylum seeker will like find like maybe a lodging where they live all together, like in a small place.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I have no problem with the people who wants to having a better life. But the fact that the federal government is not respecting our border from other countries, this is the problem. And they bypass other migrants who try to come to Canada, who wait for years. But it's not the fault of the migrant who come to Roxham Road. They have just been told, you want a better life? Go there. So it's not their fault. The fault is the government who do nothing.
The some people in the chat, I think it might be humorously saying it's Quebec's problem, but first of all, the border is a federal issue. And if anybody
by the way, we are actually sending them to all other provinces right now because we are overload. Now, I know that a lot of migrants are in Niagara Falls. I think one of the hotels is completely full of 2,000 room full. And just by the way, the tourist season is coming, and they don't, at this moment in Niagara Falls, they actually panic because they are like, oh, we gotta get money from the tourists since it's full of migrants. And like, it's 39,000 people who cross per year, and it will increase. And now Mr. Legault have asked
39,000 only at Roxham Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know that you have other port of entry illegally. Like I know you have some in Ontario, but it's not comparable, the number. But the fact that now it will be the problem of other provinces. And by the way, the federal will reimburse the Quebec for the fee. So it's the problem of all taxpayers across Canada that pay for all the services. And by the way, it was $94 million in hotel, I think in 2021 to 2022, about it. 94 million of taxpayer money involved in paying hotel for migrants.
Okay, that's quite the what's the word? The context, by the way. So thus far, there's 400 votes on the poll, and it's 52-48 yes versus no. So slightly more people based on the poll, just slightly, but it's still half of the poll people. Half of the people polled don't know what it is, which is kind of shocking. So let me bring this up. Let me see this here. It's I got the video down here. Alexa Lavoie. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is it. I'll play it and I'll stop when I have a question. But let's just see what's going on here.
I then withdrew to avoid provocation and drove to Roxham Road to wait for the taxis. That's when I got caught. Here is what happened. Where are you from?
Just for context, you're on the Canadian side for the people who
U.S.
You're on the U.S. side.
Yeah.
They're showing up. They're showing up in cars, which is obviously going to be the question: is how
it's the taxi. So, taxi are waiting around the bus. We talk about eight taxi. Sometimes you have more. It depends. You have many bus per day full of migrants that arrive in Plattsburgh.
And now we know we actually do know that it's, I think, Mayor Adams, Eric Adams out of New York, who's paying the bus tickets to get them out. For those who don't know, I just presume
I will add that afterwards. Yeah.
Eric Adams, the New York City mayor, because they have a crisis and can't house the immigrants that Joe Biden is allowing in, willy-nilly over the border, paid for the bus tickets to ship them up to the Roxham Road so they can cross into Canada. Okay.
Where are you from? Can you be?
You don't put the cap. Give me that.
So you're on the American side now. Are there no Well, you're in that area where there's no longer any American border agents, and the next authority figure, police person, is Canadian.
Yes, but the American is not their problem because nobody is crossing into America. But in the America side, they have a camera. So when they suspect that something is happening, they would call like a state trooper will come and check around. But for them, they are going outside of their country. So for them, they have no point to have like a base.
Well, it's the end of their problem, so to speak, unless an act of violence occurs on American soil. Okay, so now it's making sense, except there seems to be an act of violence on American soil. But let's continue watching.
I'm gonna throw the way into that.
Let me doing my job.
fucking job.
I'm going. I'm going.
Give me that fucking phone.
Hey!
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna broke that phone.
You,
That fucking shit.
you go away. You go away.
Put that phone away.
You go away. You don't touch my stuff. Don't touch me. I'm going to report your car.
What? Will you witness? See that police is witness.
Yeah.
That fucking phone.
You don't touch
I'm
me.
gonna
You don't touch me.
Don't fucking come with me. Shut the fuck up, man. Don't call me, man. Call back. You tell her to stop.
You're talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
I don't understand you. I don't understand you.
Fuck yourself.
Do you know who I am? You want to know who I am? Do you want to know who I am?
I mean, I don't understand any of the dynamic
Do you
here.
wanna know? Oh, thank you very much. You too. Keep on doing what you do best.
And
This is why.
those police officers are wearing face masks outside. I still can't get over that. But
This is why. This is exactly what it's causing. Chaos.
okay, so I think
Thanks to the RC.
here we go. Well, we don't need to hear you on recording because we got you here in person. So Alexa, so have you seen that individual before? Like, do you know who that person is?
I know that some of my colleagues went in 2019 and they sent me some previous video and he is there. So I know he's doing that for a while. I did talk with another taxi driver that was really nice to me and he told me who he was and tell me that he's doing that for, I think, more than 5 or 6 years, maybe more than that. And this man is apparently it is apparently really aggressive, and that was said by another taxi. And this is dangerous because the migrants are putting their trust on him, but he can be violent, and he's not shamed to beat a woman in front of like children and family. Imagine their shock of the migrant who are already stressed to cross illegally. And that woman journalist being like beat by like the taxi driver.
If the individual or anyone, and it looks like it's a bloody industry, it doesn't look like it's an accident now. If they are doing this day in and day out, how are the American authorities not getting involved? After this incident, and whoever thinks it might be staged and you pay what, and if anyone thinks it's not really bad assault, it's only assault to property. This is not battery. This is assault.
Oh no, he on my back and he grabbed my arm really hard. I'm actually asking right now. I'm working with lawyers, and I did ask for the footage from the Roxham Road building. No, the Canadian side, because they have on record, since the RCMP say to me that he saw me on camera, and it's why he went outside to help me out. And so I'm trying to retrieve that camera footage because, of course, I'm suing that man that not only hit me, but hit like my camera in stopping me to do my job. And now I'm just afraid to go again by myself. I will probably go with
You should be afraid. You should have been afraid to go by yourself the first time, Alexa. You're kind of.
I'm not like these like.
I would say anybody accusing Rebel News of grifting is one thing, but accusing you of being idiots, I mean, it's kind of no, I won't say reckless, but it's like it's what journalists should be doing. And
I've been there so many times, and you know, it's always been safe, and I had like the RCMP anyway, but that time I didn't expect, because I always take like a certain distance, and I know that the migrant will not hit me in front of like RCMP that just there and they want to cross in Canada. So they know that if they do something, they will not be allowed into Canada. Like you just hit someone, of course, like at the immigration, they would have like charges against you. So probably I would say I'm naive or anything, but so far it's always been like okay for people to report. And by the way, just last time I went, so many journalists were on the other side, and you know, nothing happened. You have always journalists all around because of what like with what Mayor Adams say recently, that he was paying with taxpayer money the ticket for the migrants to go up north to our border, and that increased a lot of journalists, and nothing happened. So it's why, for myself, I was like, okay, I'm just going there. I'm just going to try to report on what is going on, but never I will have like thing that a taxi driver will have harass me.
All right. Well, a taxi driver might not be the right word for that. What that
Well,
person is
yeah,
up to.
we call them like almost human trafficking, like
Yeah, I
right
think
now.
that's typically the term. Very interesting. Okay, so and by the way, some people were asking. Let me pull up the comments. It said, yeah, the cop witnesses a man assault a female, and all he says is, "Do you know who I am?" I presume they could do nothing because
Yeah.
there's an invisible border where you're in the
They
States.
cannot cross. They would cross illegally in US to help me out, and this is actually breaking the law.
Mhm.
So when he was saying, "Do you know who I am?" It's mean, do you know that I'm the RCMP, like the federal police
Oh,
from Canada?
I think he knew, and I don't think he gave a sweet bugger all. I mean, that was
He didn't care.
so. So you've been reporting on Roxham Road. That incident happened. I mean, are you gonna try to find the individual? You're gonna try.
Oh, I know who he is. We find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not
Like,
asking for any.
the RCMP called this state trooper that came to me afterwards, and they took my complaint. And one of the taxi gave me about the name, and I had his license plate. So for me, it was really easy to say, okay, this is the company, this is the license plate. I have the video of the car. So with that, the police were just asking directly to the company, who is that man?
Interesting. Okay, because you're still in the States on that at that point, so you do go to the American authorities.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. To be continued.
Yes, because as I say, not only we are pressing charge against that man, with the footage, if I can release it, the footage from the RCMP, I will probably show what happened. And also, we are probably we have a petition at stoptraffickingtocanada.com, a petition, and people can also send a message to the mayor, Eric Adams, to send a message to stop funding the bus ticket to the migrant. And with that petition, we are going to deliver to the US side to make a difference. And I'm going to contact also some people in the politics in the US side to tell a little bit what is going on, and show maybe the evidence of what is going on, because it doesn't seem that Justin Trudeau will do anything. Same if say like, yes,
Justin Trudeau going to do something when a woman gets abused either verbally or Justin Trudeau would be right in there with his elbow to make sure he gets the other elbow gate people. Look it up if you don't know what it is.
Yes, I know.
All right, now Alexa, I don't want to get into drama. There's a chat in the Rumble Rant that says, ask about Diagolon and what's the problem with Diagolon. I don't want to get into any drama. Is there something that I don't know about, that there's drama involving Diagolon above and beyond the Christine Anderson and Pierre Poilievre situation?
Me, I just asked the question that needed to be said. Diagolon, I would say, I don't know much, but I know that you have a figure or controversy, so especially by politicians. So it's why I ask question that is legit to ask.
I don't even know. I don't even know what the question was. What was the question?
Oh, I just say like, did you aware of like when you took the picture, who was the group of Diagolon and the flag? And I asked like, if you knew that he had like probably a controversy figure for some people, would you have done the same? Because a lot of people have like different opinion on different things, and it's normal in a society. You will always have different opinion, and it's good because in the same time it bring you to debate and discuss, and it's important. Same if, as I say, like, I don't know really much about that group. I just ask question as if it was another journalist from CBC or another journalist independent. What will be the question that Quebecers and the rest of Canada want to know.
Well, I tell you one thing. I mean, I would have asked the same question. I know the answer to it now. I'm going to ask you what her answer was, but I know the answer. I mean, so Jeremy McKenzie was on. Well, I don't remember. It was this week? I think it was on Monday. I don't know what day of the week it is. Jeremy McKenzie was just on, and I had asked him, like, did you guys troll Christine Anderson, or did she know what was happening? Is it Christine or Christina? It's Christine.
Christine.
So, and his answer was no. We told her who we were first, that this would cause a shitstorm, and she agreed to do it and had no problem doing it. So I think that answered the question.
Yeah. And in the same time, she said that she just saw them as comedian, and there was a big mockery of the government, and it's why she did it. And I will not modify what she says. This is her word, and me, I'm just there. Like in the same time, people doesn't understand that journalists are not really the important part. The important part is the people who you interview. Us, we are just there for verbalize the question. That's it.
Well, I had the same question too, because if it were a troll along the lines of Pierre Poilievre when Jeremy met with Pierre, some people could say it's not very nice because you're getting this person unwittingly into controversy. But I asked Jeremy, she knew they ran it by her, so they didn't exploit her. She deliberately, knowingly, and willingly took the picture, knowing that what's being, in my humble opinion, I don't ask her, or I'm not asking if you agree with it. I think what's been done to Diagolon is an absolute joke in the demonizing of the meme universe by the Canadian legacy media. But I would have said if they exploited Christine Anderson and didn't tell her the shitstorm it was going to put her in, and then took the picture and did it, I would say that that's morally dubious. But they did, in fact, unbeknownst to me, actually tell her beforehand. So amazing. What do you have up? What do you have coming up?
Right now, I did talk with some people in Plattsburgh that's coming up. I asked them a couple of questions about the fact that if Canada was doing the same, funding bus ticket to send them our migrant, what they would think about it. And next week, I'm going to cover again Roxham Road. That is my biggest covering journalistically. And also I have some politician to talk about Roxham. And by the way, one of the freedom fighter in Quebec is now facing his fine from the multiple health measure ticket, and is facing around hundreds of thousands of dollars of fine.
Fucking believable. Which person is this?
François Almalega François. Is the freedom fighter.
Yeah. Oh, no, well, he's the one that people have written off as an extremist because he's a little eccentric in the manner in which he does things. So he's facing over, whether or not it's 6-digit, in the order of 6-digit fines.
Yeah, it's a 98.320 or something like that thousand of dollars, and he had received a warrant of percussion, and now he say, I cannot pay that anyway. So he said that I'm waiting for the jail.
It's just a fine, people. It's just a fine. And then if you can't pay it, then they find a way to jail you for a civil fine.
By the way, some people who did really biggest crime in this whole world will have a less consequences for their action.
As far as I'm concerned, one of them might have just increased their profits by 20 billion, but that's my own personal opinion. Alexa, thank you very much. I would tell you to stop doing stupid things, but then you wouldn't be you would
not know the truth. Who will be telling you? I interview two taxi driver who tell us what is going on with this old border, and if I was not there, who else will have interview them and try to show you what is going on with that the bus full of migrants. No one in that bus was just going to Plattsburgh. By the way, why going to Plattsburgh? It's not a really touristic place, but who else?
Well, what's just blows my freaking mind is when Ron DeSantis bought the plane tickets and sent some illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. It was human trafficking, criminal probes, the most disgusting exploitation of humans for political purposes possible. Eric Adams is doing it on a daily basis at a level that far exceeds one plane of, 50 migrants or 50 illegal immigrants that they sent to. I mean, look, it is politicking. It is using people for political purposes, but it is politics. Illegal immigration is a political issue, but when he does it, it's criminal. When Eric Adams does it, it's absolutely ignored.
And by the way, Eric Adams say of the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, that it was cruel to put the migrant in the bus to send them to New York. But by the way, New York is a sanctuary for migrants, not Texas.
I'll steel man their argument. What they're going to say is it was cruel to trick them into saying they're going to get housing and lodging. Eric Adams not tricking them. He's saying go to fucking Canada. They'll do it. That's what he's saying.
Exactly. This is the problem of Canada.
Alexa, thank you very much. I will say, obviously, keep up the good work because you do amazing stuff, as does Rebel News. And look, we'll do a follow-up, and we'll run into each other sooner than later.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. And don't do it. Stay in as much as you do stupid things. Stay safe.
I will.
Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, people. That's amazing. Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Now, what we're going to do. Let me share the screen. I asked the questions. I asked the hard questions. I didn't know what the drama was, and if all Alexa did was ask the questions. It's Friday 78. Come on, Viva. Ask her about Christine Anderson and Diagolon. Why would she act like a government puppet? Well, I don't. From what I'm hearing, she didn't. I had the same question for. I'll show you something in a second. I had the same question for Jeremy because if they exploited Christine Anderson unwittingly, I would have had some moral issues with it. Although I would still think the reaction was crazy. But now Jeremy told me they prepped Christine Anderson for what they are, according to the Canadian media, and what would happen to her if she did it. And Christine Anderson, more courageous than many, said, "Screw this! We're gonna make a point here as well." Uncle Kenny says, "Ask her about Diagolon, Friday 78. What is your problem with Diagolon, Alexa?" Got it. Booyah. Now let me do this. Stop screen. Let me read some chats here. Did I forget any chats? Okay, we got Seize the Day. Bye, Felicia. I mean, Rachel. Honk, the truth wins. Oh, yeah. So Rachel Gilmore apparently is okay. And the neon sign is glaring. I think we've gotten used to it by now. Lighting is good. Anyhow, I'll figure it all out. But it's cool. All right. We're going to go to here's the diagonal. Now I know what the meme is. Where's my I accidentally, or not accidentally, but when I did the stream with Jeremy McKenzie, someone sent me a Diagolon ring in the mail. And I showed it during the last stream. I have it in my alligator's mouth. I put it up on one of the things up here just to prop it up for a bit. Oh, dear God. People are going to accuse me of being a member of a radical extremist, ideologically motivated, violent extremist, anti-Semitic group. That's what I heard about them. All right. I'm giving you the link to Rumble. And then we're going to carry this party on over to Rumble. What time is it? It's 1:48. Okay, here we go. Boom. That's the link to Rumble, everybody. Ending on YouTube and to be continued in Rumble. And we got some stuff to come to. Nina Jankowicz. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream. I'm having trouble controlling the volume. We're going to YouTube to talk about Nina Jankowicz and Justin Trudeau and some other fun stuff. 3, 2, 1 on Rumble.